saying something directly to them.
I like to finesse the camera, so I like.
Then I'll look at the camera.
Ladies and gentlemen, back again. Your favorite person, your favorite podcaster, your favorite DJ, your favorite man. Overall, top to bottom, Infinit Vibes Podcast. This time I decided to bring some different vibes to the talks. Couple of good people that I have here today. One primarily is somebody very, very close to me. Close enough in blood. Yes, I brought my brother here today. I actually got a lot of requests from you people to interview some of my family members. So my brother being one of those people that I genuinely look up to in many, many areas, I decided to bring him here on the podcast and pick his brain a little bit. Be a brother. I'm a bully. So this might be a little bit fun, educational, professional. So with that being said, Infinit Vibes Podcast, Ep.4, with my best guest, Justyn Melendez. Bro.
What's up?
Welcome to the Infinit Vibes Podcast, buddy. So,
yo, I appreciate you having me.
Just so you guys know, he has been hounding me. He's like, man, let's get on this podcast. And I'm like, I'm gonna bring you. Now here's the problem. I'm in Miami. He's out. I ain't even gonna say it. Justyn, let's give it a rundown. Why don't you give the people a little rundown? Who you are, where you come from, just a little background. This is an interview. Let's get the resume.
Yeah, man. I live in Nashville, Tennessee now. You probably might hear that little accent sometimes. I try my hardest to fight that accent. But I'm originally from New York City, Bronx, just like you and Jay. But I left a little bit earlier than y'all did. So moved to Kentucky and then gradually kept moving myself down south. And eventually I'll be over here with you too.
Good stuff. So from Tennessee, you said initially from New York. But if I'm not mistaken, you were somewhere else too, weren't you?
Do you love Kentucky? Yeah, you do.
Kentucky.
It's a nice cup over there. Let me see the cup here.
Oh, my God.
You see that guy? He's from Kentucky. From Kentucky.
Listen,
there's human beings over there in
bad.
Kentucky. Believe it or not, I actually DJ over there, but we'll get into that later.
Kentucky's not all that bad.
Are you a proud Kentuckian? Yeah, you are.
But
it's not all that bad.
Not all that.
Who does famous boxers from there, bro?
We got Ali.
Float like a butterfly.
Sting like a bee.
Sting like a bee.
My man right here. So, again, we've discussed a lot of times bringing you here on the podcast and, primarily more focused because of what you do, right? You are the finance guru in every aspect, right? I come from finance, but I have to say honestly, in regards to what we both know and where we kind of have our eggs in the basket, you definitely dominate in that area, right? So I remember you starting from it was Aflac, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you started in Aflac, and then from there you kind of catapulted up there, and then one morning, I guess you just woke up and said, no, enough is enough. It's time for me to go and do my own thing. So I kind of want to start from there, kind of give me a background of, like, where was your head, after you jumped in from Aflac and just say, you know what, I just want to do my own thing. Like, how did that process come about?
Yeah, man, it was a lot of life challenges, honestly. So 2020 happened. It affected all of us, and in some cases, it affected people differently. Most people panicked and they got depressed, and I prayed for those individuals. But for me, I found an opportunity to really sit down, focus, and figure out what my next move was going to be. And I had a great career with Aflac. Worked with them for almost 10 years. Built a beautiful district there in Kentucky.
Kentucky gear, y'all gear.
Very profitable, but something was still missing. And then when the world shut down, I'm like, all right, my money's kind of cut off now. I have this little nest egg. What can I go do with it to go make me some money? Which was something I've never thought before in my life.
Yeah.
Right? We put our stuff in a 401k. We were told to put it in a Roth IRA, and then that's it.
Okay.
So I did that. But again, my money just wasn't growing fast enough to keep up with the lifestyle that I wanted. So something had to change.
Okay.
And COVID gave me that opportunity to really dive in and figure it out.
It's interesting you say COVID, right? So, and I think I've had this discussion with many people. Would you say COVID was the perfect, and again, I just, not to be, insensitive to anybody who's lost family members or anything like that. I'm not trying to glorify the time, but I mean, from a financial standpoint, would you say that was a great opportunity for people to kind of jump into something different and grow their wealth to some extent? I mean, given the fact that we were all home, 90% of the country wasn't even working. So would you say yourself, just obviously based on your position, was that the best time? It's either you hit it or missed it to kind of like make plans for yourself for the future, for the financial sector, as far as your own personal finances?
I would say yes. Yes. For the most part, it was the opportunity for everyone to slow down and really think about their next move. And I say that people just took advantage of it. A lot of them didn't take advantage of, the opportunity that was given to them. They took advantage of not having to do anything, getting paid for it. But they should have known that it wasn't going to last forever. I knew that. And then when when the world opened back up, then what? We just go back to business as usual, or am I going to change my life? And I use it as a reset. And if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing now. I think I would still be with Aflac. Because life gets hectic. I got kids, all these other things happening in my life, and I was just distracted. And then when COVID happened, it slowed everything down for me to be like, there's got to be a better way.
Okay. And would you say you acted out of fear also? Because I know a lot of people were fearful from the COVID part.
Yeah, I would say fear has a lot to do with it. Anyone that says they're not fearful of anything or they're fearless, they're full of shit. But for me, that's kind of that's always been a motivator for me.
Fear?
Yeah.
And that was going to be my next question, is that would you consider fear to kind of be a motivator for you, right? Because I always hear two sides of the spectrum. Some people say, scared money don't make no money, which is a form of fear. So don't be fearful, or you're not going to make money. But then there's the other people who say be careful, which is also a form of fear, because when you're too cautious and too anxious, that falls into the category of fear. So how do you differentiate the two, where you say, you know what, yes, be careful, but don't be scared to make, obviously to make a leap like you did.
Right. I think a lot of it has to do with education, like understanding what you're trying to do and like how you're going to get there. And we have all these great ideas that pop in our minds, and we'll say them out loud, and we're like, man, that sounds really good. One day I'm going to get there. But then we don't make a plan. We don't understand how we're going to get there. And until we do that, until we educate ourselves and become that subject matter expert, like it's going to fall through the cracks every time. And I feel like there's a confidence level that is built whenever you feel that proficient level of I can do this. And then you get there. And that's when life changes. But without it.
What kind of steps would you, like, let's say somebody who's completely not financially literate, what kind of steps would you give as far as advice for somebody who would have been in that position? Like if you had the opportunity to kind of school or give education to some of those around, like, hey, this is what we should be doing. Like, is there any direction you would have sent them, maybe from books, maybe some courses they should have took, maybe some different kind of research? I just kind of want to get a knit and grit. Again, I'm speaking more for everyone else who don't necessarily have that mindset of what finance looks like or what it looks like to make sacrifices to better yourself financially. So how did you come about and say, all right, first and foremost, step by step, I want to start here. Let me do the research here. What did that look like for you, right? And then this is where I want to kind of take some, not necessarily the risk, but I want to take a leap of faith, quote unquote, right? Yeah. So how did that look for you? Like, obviously you had to start somewhere. So when you woke up one morning, like, walk me through the process. You woke up on COVID and you said, you know what, enough is enough. Like, what was that turning point for you? How did that look? How did that start?
Yeah, man, for me specifically, it was more of, I got to see my grandmother work for 32 years and still struggle during retirement. She had a 401k, she had a partial pension, Social Security, and it just still wasn't enough. So I started questioning the traditional financial advice that was out there. Like, do this, do that, and you'll be okay. But if that was the case, why are people still working well into their 70s and still not able to retire comfortably?
I would never understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Well, there's a lot that goes behind it. Everything looks good on paper, but we forget when we actually touch that money, how much are we actually getting?
Yeah.
Right? All day we could look like millionaires on a piece of paper, but once we touch it, you get hit with taxes. You get hit with these annual drags. There's so many management fees. There's all things that fall into that take away from that profit.
And I also noticed that a lot of those things are not discussed early on when people are making these investments, right? Obviously that's a very unethical thing to do, because taking advantage of people, right? And I know a lot of people...
They're taking advantage of the traditional financial system is taking advantage of the lack of education.
Yep.
Right. Listen, I'm the subject matter expert because I'm an FA, a financial advisor is what they'll say, or a financial professional. So what I say, you should take my advice. And someone with less education on the financial system is going to be like, yep, I'm going to give you my money. You're going to do right by me. And then when it comes time to retire, you realize you don't have enough. You realize you had to work another 5, 7, 10 more years. And even then, it's still not enough.
Yep.
Right? We work 40, 60 years plus for what? To survive or to live? I want to live.
Of course.
So that, seeing my grandmother do that, I was like, I don't want that. And I grew up in poverty. I'm the only self-made individual in my family.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. First of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Before I met y'all.
I was about to say,
hold on.
You better fix that sentence, man. You
is
making me
another
sound like
story.
I'm poor or something like that.
No,
Right?
that's not what I meant. Before I met y'all, which is another story about our past. But that side of my family, like my mom's side, like they didn't do anything themselves. Like they worked for the system. They were taught to go to school, make good grades, go to college, work for a company, make that company successful, and then they'll pay you for it. Yeah. Right? It was just this rat race that they were trapped in, and I was the first one to question it and move past it.
There's actually a really interesting video. I don't know, and we'll run it on the edits. It's a really good video in regards to what you just said. So it's basically a college graduate, just finishes school, and he stands in front of a building. And in front of the building, there's a, I guess it would be...
like one little squares. I think I know
one
what you're
square.
talking about.
It's that
one
video,
square.
right?
Yeah.
Guys, I'll run the video. You'll watch it. It's a very, very
it's
big
deep.
eye-opener of a video.
Yes.
Yo, what's up, buddy?
Whoa, watch out. I gotta stay here.
What do you mean?
I'm working, can you see?
All right, my bad.
I didn't mean to make it weird, you know.
We just wanted to come by and see if you want to skate Midtown with us.
Yeah, Jerry's gonna be there. He's gonna get beers and stuff. It's gonna be sick.
You should come.
I'd love to come, man, but I'm working. I really can't.
Is anyone even watching you?
Listen, I'm making a living. I'm official now.
Official? All right, yeah, let's
Damn.
get out of here. See you around.
So just for context, in the video, basically the graduate stands there and a gentleman comes up to him and says, I want to pay you X amount of dollars to stand right in this spot for, what was it, 6 to 7 hours or something like that. He goes, yeah, great. How much you gonna pay me? Like $100, whatever.
Right.
Guy says, yeah, and it goes on for days and it goes on for days. And then his promotion is, hey, I'm going to give you 2 boxes, but I'm going to pay you $300. The guy's like, yeah, he's excited, but now everybody around, he can never step out of the box though.
Right.
Everybody around him is like enjoying life. They're growing. And you kind of get the drift of where this is going, right? I want you guys to watch the video. I don't want to go and give you the entire plot of it. But for context, is basically what you said is that this system is designed, and I hate to use this word, but it kind of just seems like it's designed to make us hostages, basically. You know what
It's
I mean?
a labor
We're
force.
trapped in labor, right? We're trapped in a system that doesn't allow generic growth where unless you're doing it yourself, right? The system is designed a specific way to keep us, again, trapped, slave, whatever. But we're stuck in that position, right? But this is where people like you come along. It's like, you know what? It does not have to be that way, right? There's opportunities out there if you're willing to obviously do the research, you know, educate yourself and step out of that box. See where I'm going with that?
Right.
And kind of, you know, build yourself up to be something more, you know, for you and just more personal, to be your own boss, quote unquote, right?
No, right. And, you know, taking those first steps, like going back to the original question you asked me was, you know, where would I start? Or, you know, what did I go into first?
Yeah.
And I had to find groups of people that were at the place that I wanted to be in my life. And I started doing research around these individuals. I first started in my community. You know, I realized that there are successful people in my community. Maybe they would be open enough to tell me your struggles, the obstacles you had to overcome to get to where you are. Like, let me know. I don't want to know success stories.
Yep.
I want to know the struggle, because that's what's going to stop you from achieving them. And so I did that. Has a few, I would say, semi-mentors that kind of filled me in on their journey, and that just sparked something in me. And then I started going to a few Grant Cardone conferences, the 10X Growth Con.
The infamous
I've been in
Grant.
Vegas. I was here in Miami and just got around those individuals in the real estate game and seeing how they operated and the things that they were doing with their money. And everything that I found out through them was not what was advertised about how you should plan for your retirement. And I'm like, why are you guys not talking about this? And, you know, Grant, he's always on talking about something, but there's a lot of other individuals that are very successful, millionaires, billionaires, humbled individuals, but they won't get in front of this camera and then tell you their secrets. You got to ask them. And if you don't ask them, they won't tell you.
And that's kind of where a lot of the questions I got from people who are trying to get more knowledge in this area. They always say the same thing. It's like, you know, I signed up for this and this and this, and it's always a paywall right at the end of the thing. It's like, this is how you do it. By the time you hit there, do you have 10 grand to invest? Do you have 20, 30, 40, 50 grand?
Right.
Not everybody has that kind of leverage. You get what I mean? So it's great that you obviously found, you know, a niche somewhere in that. So
I'm going to tell you this. I didn't have that money. I used credit cards to pay for all of it, but I knew if I could get the education, if I could get the mentorship, that I would be able to pay that back quickly. And that's where my mind was at. I didn't worry about the debt I was accumulating because I knew based off of the knowledge that I had, I would accelerate my cash flow and I'd pay it off fast.
Gotcha.
And that's what I did. So anyone, I'm not saying put yourself in debt and do this, but if it's strategic enough, debt can be good in certain ways.
Some people, and I can definitely vouch to say that I'm one of those. Debt used to be the word of fear. Like, we used to get scared. Debt is debt. I used to panic if I put $30 on my credit card. Like, I got to pay this. You know, that steak wasn't worth it to make my credit score go down, right? Our brother is notorious for having panic attacks for $1 over on his credit cards, right? For those who are like that, and like who I used to be, right? Because I'm not like that anymore, right? I've learned a lot, obviously, from a finance background, but for, let's say, somebody like our brother, right? And not to put him down, Jay, we know you got money, you're good. But for somebody who says they're kind of just fearful in that debt area, like, how should one approach debt in a positive light? Like you said, like you kind of saw the end of the tunnel and you say, you know what, I'm going to capitalize on this. Yes, it's going to be a struggle. It's a debt that I have to obtain. But at the end of the day, I'm going to pay that back, right? And then you found some kind of an area where it's going to help you grow. So how does one approach that with that kind of confidence?
I mean, there just has to be a clear goal on why you're accumulating or using that debt in the first place. And, you know, before you ever start investing and you get to that level of using debt to create or buy assets that create cash flow, it's more of investment in yourself. Because, I go back to the education. Like, if you can invest in yourself on the education on how to grow your money or accelerate it fast, like that's what's going to pay it off quicker. But if you're just using debt to buy useless things or for temporary gratification, of course you're going to panic whenever you can't figure out how to pay that shit back. That's where the panic comes in. It's not necessarily knowing that if I get this debt, I'm going to be able to pay it back because I just created this cash flow that's going to help me. No, I bought this pair of shoes that now I don't know how those pair of shoes are going to be able to pay the card back off.
No, you're right. And again, I only ask because TikTok is notorious for scaring everyone with don't go to debt. Debt is bad. No matter how much debt you have, even debt that can come with some positive outcomes, right? Like in your case, debt for an investment in an education course, whatever the case may be, right? It's sad that we live in a social media world that literally has made that a taboo, right? They've crucified any form of debt whatsoever, no matter what the debt comes from, right? So for me,
unless it's student loan debt, which you would think would be the same thing, right? Because you're paying for an education that's supposed to land you a job. Why is that okay?
You don't need college to learn stuff, okay? Everything is available basically for free. You can learn anything you want for free. It is not a question of learning. So I think colleges are basically for fun and to prove you can do your chores, but they're not for learning.
Yeah. I never understood that.
The system's corrupt.
Yeah. It's bad. I tell you I still have my college debt, and every day I look at it, I'm like, well, it's a cute piece of paper with a nice little gold sticker on it. And I could be honest with you, I don't live in regret, but sometimes I look, I'm like, why the hell did I do this, right? That money that I've borrowed, I could have literally placed that somewhere else entirely. I could have probably built some, kind of an enterprise to some extent.
Right.
And I wasn't taught that, right? So I think this brings us to the next segment, right? So for you, you said yourself a little earlier is that you found a niche where people weren't necessarily addressing to teach people to kind of, grow and invest in certain things and just learn from certain areas. So with this company, Intentional Wealth, that you've built yourself from the ground up, right? That addresses those issues, right?
Correct.
So I do want to dive into that. So why don't you give some of the viewers here kind of, what is Intentional Wealth? What helped you come up with the idea and what's the direction for this? And how is this going to help everyone else?
Yeah. I mean, Intentional Wealth, it kind of just popped in my head one day. Obviously, I love working out. I love going to the gym. I've been in the military for 17 and a half years. And those disciplines of, training and being very focused and just driven to accomplish a certain mission, whatever it is. Gym, grow my muscles, be healthy, run 2 miles. Military, accomplish a mission where I'm overseas or in country or stateside, whatever it may be. Like, there's a very defined guideline and method that we are going to take to make sure that we accomplish this mission. And I'm like, well, why are we not that intentional about our money? So I was like, maybe I can take everything I was taught in the military, my focus and discipline that I had in the gym, and apply it to money principles. And that's kind of how Intentional Wealth just popped up. And I'm like, yo, because when you see this logo, you see intentional, you're going to automatically think of the definition of it and what it means. Then you see wealth, and now you're going to associate money. It's going to make you think about yourself in your own financial platform. All right, Intentional Wealth. Oh, where am I at right now? So I wanted something that would stick out. That's why I kind of like the little, light bulb with the money behind it. It's kind of an idea of, I need to think about this again.
Yeah.
Because it should always be top of mind. It should always be a big focus. We can't sleep on it. Right? Money will control you if you don't control the money.
Exactly.
And majority of the people are controlled by money. So until you flip that script and you start controlling it yourself, like, you're going to get stuck in that rat race. But Intentional Wealth, it was created based off of my military background and just my gym disciplines.
And what are the core principles? What is the core foundation of Intentional Wealth?
So I go by five pillars, 5 financial pillars. So I have what I call financial mindset, right? And the reason why financial mindset is first, because I believe that everything starts with a positive mindset around something. There's a lot of limited beliefs around money that will stop you from ever achieving those goals unless you convince your mind that you are worthy to receive it. You can make all this money, but you will let it go because you don't feel worthy of it. And until that switch turns on, things are not going to change. So I focus heavily on financial mindset first. Let's control those limited beliefs that we grew up with, that we heard people talk about as we're kids, and let's get rid of them because they don't apply to our lives. You are worthy enough to receive abundance. Like, you are worthy to have a lot of money, to be successful, to be happy. You just have to convince and train your mind to know that it's true.
Yeah.
And once we do that, we jump into financial IQ. That's all the little dirty secrets that are out there that are not advertised that I just expose to all of my individuals and that are in my mastermind, which are a part of, and some other clients outside of that are business owners. I let them know on things that are out there, strategies, techniques that they could be doing with their money to accelerate it, not just accumulate it.
Yeah.
Once the IQ is done, then we go into financial structuring. I'm big on tax structures, right? The tax code is there for a reason. It's not just to take our money. If you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, take the time to understand the tax code. I promise you it'll be worth your time. It's disgusting, but do you like money?
I like money.
Okay, then you want to do it because it will save you so much money.
Not bring any joy to me, but this is why we have people like you.
Right.
Great.
Let me enjoy it for you. And
Yes.
I'll just tell you what code to tell your CPA to look up so you can apply it to your tax return.
Just total side note. Have you ever pissed off a CPA
Yes.
because you just knew too much.
Yes.
You felt like you were kind of tarnishing
Yes.
their record.
The two major industries and professionals I piss off the most are CPAs and financial advisors.
What do they get mad about?
Well, one, I take money from them.
Run your pocket, son! Man, you a little kid! Matter of fact, you can have my phone. I have another one, my wallet.
And the other thing is they feel like everyone shouldn't know what I know.
How you know that? They don't even know that. I don't even talk to them about that. Yo, he know too much.
Like this is more on the financial advisement side.
Yeah.
The things that I talk about, they know will take away from their portfolios. So they're like, we don't talk about that. People don't need to know that. And I just fought so hard against it. And where I live, Nashville, Tennessee, that is Dave Ramsey territory.
But
Dave
for them,
Ramsey's headquarters is there. So I deal with them all the time.
but for them to genuinely wake up and say people should not know what's real, like the
Yeah.
truth. You're literally hiding the truth in. I'm trying to process this, right? Because you're literally
truth in
hiding
plain
something.
sight, right?
Isn't
But
that
then you have these other individuals that are out there, these big entrepreneurs that, again, and this is for people listening right now. If you just stop being scared, be courageous for once, and go ask that millionaire, how did you do it? I promise you, they will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to volunteer the information. You have to take that first step. They have to see the initiative of you wanting that.
Yeah.
And they will be more than happy to guide you. They find fulfillment they get fulfillment out of that mentorship, right? Because they used to be us and they got there.
Yeah.
And if they can help the other person, that's great. But the financial advisor, they're not going to do that, because if they do that, then there's no longer a need for them.
You have kids. You have your two
Yeah.
daughters. This whole specific conversation right here reminds me of The Incredibles. Remember The Incredibles?
Yes, I do.
Okay, this is the part where he's the insurance. He goes, I'm not going to tell you to go to the third floor.
All right, listen closely. I'd like to help you, but I can't. I'd like to.
And do this and X, Y, and Z. You're not going to file this tax bracket. You're not going to put it in the blue not the green one, but the blue one. That sounds like you. So you basically go around and you let people know, like, you're not supposed to learn this stuff. You're not supposed to know that. But make sure you go to Mastermind and go to Intentional Wealth, because what we're going to do is we're going to help you get here, 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 and here. And you're just pissing off all the CPAs on the back end. That's genius.
Well, and there's
Making
some that are
enemies while
open.
helping, like Robin Hood.
There are some that are open enough to be like, hey, how did you figure this out? Where did you find this? And I'm very open on helping them out, right? Because I look for partners. I'm not looking for enemies, but they have a duty, and I feel like they should be sharing it. And if they're not going to, I will.
Yep.
And I just give my clients and people that are around me that are part of my community and my mastermind, and I just give them questions to ask these professionals.
Good.
Like go to the financial advisor and ask them, why are they not showing you this? CPA, why are they not showing you this? And if they're willing to apply it, then give them a chance.
Yeah.
But if they're not, it's time for you to look elsewhere.
I agree. So that was from the first core, right? So that was the first principle? Or was that the second? That's 1 and 2.
For what? The structuring?
Yeah. So you have 5 principles.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
we just went over 1.
We did
right?
we did financial mindset.
Yep.
We did financial IQ.
Yep.
Financial structuring, which is more of the tax efficient
Yes.
structures on that, and then we go into financial friends and financial opportunities.
Okay. So financial
'Cause
friends.
Here's one of the biggest things and one of the biggest lessons that I learned getting into this. Financial friends will get you there faster, but you got to be very careful on who you put in your circle. There are people out there that will take advantage of you. We all know this.
Are you a firm believer of the 5 person in your phone book rule?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it should be the 5 main people who are like, these are the wealthy people, these are the motivational, financially stable people,
Yeah.
these are the friends.
Yep.
But the colleague friends,
Correct.
the associate friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not so much, too, like if they have money to invest with you, great, because you all can get there faster. But they have certain expertise, like knowledge that they can bring to the group to share, that everyone becomes more knowledgeable. Like that's what you're looking for. You don't have to know everything, right? But if you can know someone that can fill in that gap, then you become an empire.
Yeah.
That's what you want. And when you have that, you create financial opportunities. And when those come, they come fast. And the reason why the opportunities approach you the way they do when you reach that level is because you're ready to receive them.
Yep.
A lot of people say they don't receive these opportunities, or I'm not worthy of these opportunities, because you're never ready for them. You're not prepared. You're a reactive individual, not a proactive individual.
So we've always grown up with that same. I've grown up with that mindset too, which is to be careful who you hang around. Right? We all know that's a very traditional concept to think by. So to get into a circle of people like those, like-minded people, or people who are obviously more, in a higher position than you are, would you say the side approach to that is kind of distancing yourself from people who are not on that caliber, or do you keep them around? And obviously, with relationships from growth and everything, because I personally would not want to be around somebody if I'm trying to build something financially around people who, I don't want to say the word broke, but who generally don't have that mindset to grow financially, right? Who just are content with where they are, right? Do you believe in distancing yourself from those type of people?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Regardless of the background and the friendship.
Mom, I'm sorry, but if my mom was like that, I'd cut her off.
Seriously?
I would. This is our life.
We're
living our life.
Mm.
We're not living our parents' lives. We're not living our friends' lives. We are trying to make it to a certain level. And if there's someone in your life that is stopping you from doing that, you got to let them go. Regardless, except for your kids. That's a whole nother story. You better figure that shit out. The kids can't go. But anyone else, fair game.
What if the kids come around and it's like, Dad, this financial crap is just not it. I'm okay. I don't believe in your company. And they said that. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Replace them. No big deal.
Yeah, no, but I do, because there's a certain energy that needs to be around you to make it to those kinds of levels. And if you just have what they, in the South, they call them Debbie Downers. Right? Yeah. You're just not going to make it. They're going to continuously stop you from getting to that next level. They're going to give you excuses, or they're going to enable certain behaviors that you know yourself are harmful. But because your best friend said, oh, it's okay, you'll keep doing it.
Yep. Okay. That makes good sense. So now we got number 5 now. What was the 5th one?
Opportunities.
Opportunities.
It's financial opportunities. Yep.
So run me down that one.
All right. You got financial mindset, financial IQ, financial structure, financial friends, financial opportunities.
Okay.
In that order.
So what's the financial opportunities?
There's a lot of them, and it's not just the stock market. Listen, I don't have anything against the stock market, right? I just think there's a time to get into it.
Okay.
Right? And it's not through a 401k.
It's not through a 401k.
It's not through a 401k. I made a post about this a few weeks ago, and I said I'm not arguing with these.
Run it. Run the clip. Run the clip. Okay.
But these 401k just has too many internal fees that are not discussed. There's a management fee involved, and then you get hit with this tax. Yes, you may be getting a percentage from your employer, but it's only going to cover the taxes and management fees later. So you're not really getting any free money. It's not. And then you're locking your money up until 59 and a half when you could be accelerating it throughout your life.
Why did I think it was longer than that?
Well, that's the cutoff age right now for retirement. But no one, there's a very small percentage of individuals that actually get to retire at 59.
We need to sit my mother down here then, because she's past 59 already, and she's still fighting this whole scenario.
She falls in that category that I was talking about on that. And I would love to help her. And she has, I think, a year and a half left. And then
about a year
all
and a
of
half.
that unlocks, so she'll be good. But,
she'll be straight.
If obviously we met 6 years ago, if we met 10 years ago, she may have a different story. But timing's everything.
No, met him on a yacht in Miami, American Social. Great place, great time. Good stories, good memories.
It was.
Another story. But
I mean, these opportunities, again, I like to focus on more of the business acquisition sides, private equity. You're looking at just real estate adventures, whether it's a short-term investment, mid-term, long-term. There's so many different alternative investments that you get into, but until you understand how they operate, how they work, and the individuals that are involved in it, I would not just jump in, not knowing anything.
Well, that's a good point. So what would be some red flags you would look out for when you're prior to making an investment for something of that magnitude?
Well, first thing is about a track record, right? How successful has this person been in their other investments?
Okay.
And have they failed? That's the big one.
So
People would think that, oh, he's never failed. He has 100% success. That's a red flag.
Okay.
Because I need to know if I end up being that first loss, how are you going to make it right?
What if it's somebody who's generally financially well off, right? Made some small, purchases here and there that help them make money, because they don't have that complete background in investing in large projects. Would you still turn them down, or would you kind of take that leap of faith? They say, you know what, maybe this might work. So would you have your own research on the back end of whatever it is that they're trying to put together?
Absolutely. If I, and that's kind of how, I got started when I created, my fund. When I started bringing some investors in and doing some of these joint venture projects, I was new, right? It was my first time doing something. But you find individuals that trust you enough because you put everything together, the numbers make sense. And I do a little bit more than just the number side of it. Obviously, we can force numbers to make sense, but there's also a lot of trends and demand that you have to look for too. If there's always a demand, there's an opportunity to make money. And that's what I looked at. Who was investing in these shorter term flips, right? And these are more just facelifts. Looking at capital between 3,000 and 10,000, 60 to 90 days at a time. And not too many people were like, I don't want to deal with that. So I was like, I will, right? I'll accelerate giving capital towards these kind of investments. Boom, it worked. Then I started looking, all right, where's the market going? Where's some other advantages besides buying businesses, making them operational and reselling them? Where are we going to now? Then I got into data centers.
What is a data center? A data center houses rows of computers and equipment for storing, processing, and transmitting data.
Got an opportunity to buy equipment that goes into a data center, which is leased to a tech company that uses it to store data.
Yep.
Huge demand, right?
Especially now with the AI market.
So I let my investors get in on that opportunity as well. Very lucrative. It's just, I took the time to build relationships. I took the time to put myself in rooms where I knew opportunities could present themselves. And then I just made sure I was ready to receive them once they did. And that's how the opportunities come. But when someone asks, what other opportunities are you in? They're classified as alternative because they're not in the stock market. So it could be real estate, it could be business, it could be into data centers, it could be into cryptocurrency, right? That's another one. That's a whole other topic on itself. I do invest in cryptocurrency, but do your own due diligence. Educate yourself.
Bitcoin and everything.
Yeah.
How do you feel about what happened in the last several months with the severe dip?
Nah, I think it's
normal.
normal.
I know panic sellers. I know a lot of them.
Yeah. Which is good for us.
Well, for you guys, not for the guy who just panic sold.
Yeah,
me, I took a big serious L and figured that they would never rebound from that.
Well, the way I look at it is, if you pay attention to our government for one, right? Look at Bitcoin. We have a Bitcoin reserve. You can't be scared of something like that. If you think it's a scam and it's gonna go away, that means that I'm saying our government is the most trustworthy government out there, but for them to have a Bitcoin reserve tells me that Bitcoin is pretty safe.
Yeah.
Right? The investment in it is pretty safe. Then you have things like XRP. XRP has a lot of utilization and how it's going to transform the banking system in some sense, right? They're fighting against it because they can't catch up, but it'll get there. Little things, I'm just, moving data from one side to the other. A lot of these coins, that's what they're doing. It's about creating speed in just transactions. So I look at all of them. I find out what the best utilization is going to be for that certain coin, and that's the one I'm going to invest into. And that's the same thing I do with the investments I'm looking for. There's a lot that goes into it on the back end. I don't just, if someone comes up to me and says, hey, I have this investment, I'll give you an example. Bitcoin farming. Mine, just farming. I don't know anything about that. But
Bitcoin farming?
Yes.
What is that?
They mine Bitcoin, and it's called a Bitcoin farm. There's a bunch of these units put together, and they just start mining Bitcoin.
I don't. So wait. I'm curious. So so mining. You're just looking for like a treasure hunt, basically.
No, they're creating it. They're mining.
You're creating
money. Yeah.
So
you
why
should
is that,
look into it.
Why is not everybody doing
You're a tech
that?
guy. So
I am a tech guy. Do you not see the light bulb on both sides?
I think you would figure it out real quick. But I don't understand that. But because I don't understand it, I'm not going to invest in it. But I have someone that approaches me and says, hey, there's a huge opportunity. The numbers look beautiful, but I don't know how they look beautiful.
Bitcoin mining.
Yeah, and if I have the question, I'm like, how is this even possible? Like, I need more time before I put my money in.
I need the pickaxe. I need the pickaxe because I'm about to start.
Yeah.
Mining, I don't know what the hell that is, but I'm going to start mining it. I just get scared with crypto, bro. Like,
what?
Listen, me and Jay, my boy Dumala, that's my boy. We had an entire WhatsApp team of crypto.
Yeah.
Whole team. In the chat, we were millionaires. Every single one of us. Jay, my brother, had $101 million in a coin called Super Moon or something like that, right?
Gosh.
So we were rich. Here's the problem with the Bitcoin. I mean, with the crypto that scares me is you don't know how to get it out. So it has to go through so many different. It has to go through so many different blockchains before it gets to obviously a tangible one like Bitcoin where you can actually pull it out.
Yeah.
But by the time you reach it, man, it's like the fees that just keep taking it out. So that 1 million turns into like $10.
That's why I don't mess with meme coins. And to be 100% transparent with you, when I first got into Bitcoin or when I first got into cryptocurrency, I invested in Dogecoin. In 2020. I invested at 0.0007. So I got in really early and I made money. I made money off of that.
Oh, you
just
did?
by accident.
So you made money?
I made money.
I lost money.
Off of it. No, I made money off of it. But then something told me, I was like, all right, there's a market here. I need to be a little bit more conservative, though. I can't just be gambling on these meme coins. So I started doing my research and finding out what is actually going to be used in the future, and that's where my money lies. So there's a lot that goes into it, but it is considered an alternative investment because it's anything that's a class or qualified investment outside of the stock market.
I love this topic, right? Because I'm notorious for shorting. Before. And that was going to be my follow-up question. Is like, was there any risky investment or you thought was risky and you just said, damn, why did I not invest in this? That's like today, obviously, it's on high value. Is there any one of those? It could be any investment. It could be Bitcoin. It could be a regular blue chip stock.
I would say,
even real estate, anything in the investment sector whatsoever, regardless of the category. Is there anything that you said, damn, I wish I got in there, or damn, I wish I would have stood and held?
Bitcoin was one, and that was at the very beginning.
How much you had in the beginning?
I didn't have any, but I had someone talk to me about it.
You sent me an email a few weeks back requesting information about a good cryptocurrency to invest in that has huge upside potential with very little downside that could moon anytime soon. Does that ring a bell to you?
Oh, yeah, I might have said something like that.
Okay, great.
Oh,
and I was like, I'm not doing that. It makes no sense. It
didn't make sense to anybody. When I heard about it, I was like, what the hell is this?
I mean, in some cases, it still doesn't. For Bitcoin specifically, but
I don't trust anything that doesn't have a face.
It has the backing, so it's safe. But I would say Bitcoin was one of the big ones. But there's been other things that I've gotten into that was more of the opposite effect, which I had to learn trial by error. That I got into thinking it was going to be great. I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have done that.
Like me with Supermoon.
No, I tried to short this ETF short on oil. Whenever we had
commodities are hard, man.
Yeah, but it was more of we didn't have anywhere to house the oil, so they were just stuck on ships. So people were just buying these certificates for nothing. Or they were just trying to give them away because it was costing them more money to keep the oil than to try to sell it. So I'm like, I'm going to short this. And Trump figured it out. It cost me money. It cost me money. I'm like, how? Where did this oil go?
But there's a learning opportunity for you, so it's okay to lose money.
Yes,
it's okay to fail in investments.
You should.
Not for me.
No, you should.
No, not for me. Not for me. Fun fact, I'm going to give you guys a little history of my sad investment mindset back then. I don't know if I've ever told you this. I was one of the first to jump in for Facebook when it went IPO.
Okay.
When it went public, I was one of the first, and I jumped in when it was diving at the very beginning. I think I was at like $30 a share. Like I jumped in, I bought I think like 2,000 shares. I was like, shh. I just went crazy, right? Bought. I was like, yeah, I'm here.
A good one.
So I go up, so I go down. So I go up, then I saw it stagnant, and I was like, damn. And this goes back to what we were talking about, the friends in your circle. So I let people get in my head. In banking, though, this wasn't just regular street people. These were banking. These were financial professionals.
Right.
This is another flop. This is a MySpace just waiting to happen. What did I do? Pulled it right out. What happened? Facebook just went, doop. Yeah. Oh, we want Instagram. Oh, we want WhatsApp. Now, conglomerate. Right. Blue chip stock, too big to fail. Right?
Right.
Same thing with Tesla. I bought Tesla at, I think it was $7 a share. Had a lot, too. Had a lot. Shorted. Because in my head, electric car companies would never make it. Gas is dominant, and I'm never going to win.
Yeah.
Shorted that one, too.
Yeah.
So I made some trial and error. It hurt because I didn't necessarily lose money. I lost a couple of dollars, right? Because I pulled it out before, obviously, I shorted it. But did I lose in my future? Yes. I did the numbers, by the way. We would not be sitting here right now. I probably own this.
Oh,
it was big.
Oh,
just from that alone. Oh, and Apple. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I was rocking on Apple. I was actually working when the first phone came out.
Oh, okay.
I sold the first phone. I was working for AT&T at the time.
Gotcha.
And it was insane. So for you, at least you have a little bit more of a backbone than I do, because right now I'm PTSD traumatized. I'm afraid to invest because of what I did. And that just stresses me the hell out.
Yeah.
How would you change my mindset, though?
See, that one's a little tougher because I wouldn't say it's PTSD in a sense where it is that post-traumatic stress.
It can't be healed.
But it's a little bit deeper because it's your personal experience and your money. There's always a deeper connection than anything else that may happen to you.
Yep.
We just tie things to money so easily. And, I mean, for you, I would just say, don't invest until you're comfortable to lose whatever you're investing. If you have $1,000 and you're like, if I lost this today, I'll be okay, invest it. But if you're not, don't, because you won't sleep. It will stress you the fuck out.
But if somebody gives you the green light to give them that confidence boost. So let's say right now I'm a stranger. Justyn, I got 50 grand inheritance. Mm-hmm. What's my first move right now? I trust you. Mm-hmm. What am I doing?
Give it to me.
Break yourself.
Well, that's easier said than done. Just give it to me. What's my first move? Give me your money.
I'm kidding.
Full check.
No, I would say first I would position it somewhere that's going to at least make higher than the rate of inflation.
Okay.
And then there's some other factors in there too. And I call those position plays. So when you look at annual drags, which is another thing the industry doesn't talk about, it's the amount of percentage that's taking away from your profits per year. Mm-hmm. And it can be anywhere from 8 to 12%. So when you hear the financial system say that 10 to 12% is a good return year after year, it's not. It looks good on paper. But if you calculate the annual drags, now how much have you made? Nothing. So your money is stagnant. So I'd say let's look at just positioning it first so we can look to invest it later. And then we just dive in. What are we looking to invest in? What's going to be the main goal for this money? And yes, the first goal and the first thing we think about is I want to make more money, right? But if money is the only thing that motivates us, we will fail eventually. So there has to be something more tangible to it, something that's bigger than just ourselves.
Okay.
And that goes to that financial mindset. We talk heavily about the purpose behind the dollar. Give the dollar a meaning. And if that purpose is strong enough, I'm telling you, the universe will give it to you. So let's identify, what are we going to do with that money? Yes, we'll make it, but how many lives are we going to change along the way? What kind of impact can we have with the money that we're going to make from this money? We start thinking like that, bro, we'll never lose motivation.
So would you say is like a bit of strategy and mindset, obviously, right? Because it can't be one or the other. Or would you say it's more mindset than strategy or vice versa?
I think it's more mindset at first and then strategy. Yeah.
It goes back to the fierce aspect that we were talking about, right? It's like you obviously can't have a mindset.
You can have the perfect strategy, fail safe. Like it's 100% success. Right? And I know some of those things don't exist without risk, but I'm just saying as an example wise. But if your mind is not ready for it, it will not allow you to do it.
Makes a lot of sense. And is this something that you teach in the Intentional Wealth?
Yes.
Or is this more for the Mastermind? Because we haven't dived into the Mastermind whatsoever.
Yeah, so Intentional Wealth Mastermind is where we dive into that.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So in Mastermind, and I know we have I'm a part of this, guys. So every month we obviously talk about different obviously investments or just kind of general financial literacy and we shared knowledge and all learn from each other, where you were obviously the front runner to give us all of that all that information. Where do you see that as far as the company goes? Where do you see that in the next 5 years? Obviously we have a small little group of people, but it's exponentially growing little by little. What's the future for that?
Man, I'm going to want to keep adding at least 5 to 10 people every cycle.
Okay.
Going into this. And right now, I think we're roughly at 17.
Yeah.
I mean, we started with, I think, 9.
Okay.
When we first started.
And
so
what are the
growing.
requirements to get into this? For those, like, to say someone is the listeners right now, like,
obviously there's an annual fee on this to get in, but I don't want the annual fee to put you in a hard place.
Yeah.
So if it's going to be that dollar amount that you're like, man, I can afford it, as in sense I can pay for this course or this mastermind, but if I do that, I'm really going to be struggling to pay my bills. I can't work with it. I won't allow you to do it.
No, of course not.
But besides that, for individuals that are just looking to elevate their money, they're looking to accelerate rather than accumulate. That's what I'm wanting. That's the individuals I want to work with. Right. And what's great about my mastermind, obviously we have community, we have the education, we have, the investment opportunities. But the things that I'm teaching, which as you've been a part of, I want them to learn it themselves so they don't always have to depend on me, where the system will give you just enough to always come back.
Okay.
If you come back to me, it's because you have an opportunity that we can do together. It's not because you're going to pay me for me to teach you again.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. We'll kind of close it up here a little bit. For me, when it comes to financial literacy, I like to read. And reading and obviously learning from people like you and then everybody else that's in the Mastermind program. Any books or any kind of learning platforms that you would recommend for somebody who wants to just kind of do some background research of what this entails, like what kind of mindset you need to come into this? Because obviously not everybody's just going to jump into Mastermind. It doesn't matter, generally what your background is where your mind, it's clearly in the name. It's your mindset, right? You have to come into this with the right mindset. So somebody who wants to come and say, I want to read a little bit on financial literacy beforehand, right? Just so I don't feel like I'm a sitting duck in there. Any books that you would, or anything that you read or anything that you've watched online that would give a good, I would say kind of a good stepping stone for somebody to get into this?
Yeah. What Would the Rockefellers Do is a really good one to start with, because it's going to take you down another rabbit hole on the life insurance game. But he goes into some of the other things that he does while he's investing his money into a life insurance policy and how he's using that. That's where I got real creative, was reading that book. But the majority of the information that I've learned is through some individual directly on them, not necessarily something I've read. Now, more personal development books, obviously like leadership books, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Like, that's a good one. 17 Laws of Teamwork was a good one. Oh, my gosh. The 10X Rule was really good by Grant. And then, why can't I remember this book? It'll come to me. But there's another one I would recommend. It's more focused on not necessarily blaming yourself, but taking responsibility for everything that happens in your life.
Gotcha.
Regardless if it's your fault or not.
Okay. Yeah, no, because the question was more generally for, again, for somebody who's not necessarily financially literate, somebody who doesn't know what investments, like what the different types of investments are, somebody who doesn't know what it takes to invest in real estate or invest in, say like server centers, things of that nature. Like somebody who's has the financial backing, but generally just doesn't know what anything is, right? It's just completely a newt, basically, right? Great example. I have this book here. So this is a financial literacy book. I actually gave this to Jay. So it's You Deserve to Be Rich, right? This is just a straightforward financial, I don't like to say for dummies, I really hate that word, but that's generally what it is, right? So it tells you everything for what a savings account will 401ks, but in full detail, but where it's digestible for somebody. And that's why I asked if, what would be some good avenues for somebody to approach before considering, coming to talk to you about joining or getting more information on you, because we wouldn't want to send somebody to you who has absolutely no idea what finance is as a whole, right? Yeah. Because then now you've become not just necessarily a mentor, but now you have to sit there and kind of handhold somebody and teach them something that's kind of outside of what you're already trying to teach those of us who are already financially literate, right? So that first book that you said, I actually am going to look into that myself. But Intentional Wealth, Mastermind. Is there anything else that you kind of want to throw in the mix? Now that we've covered a lot, right? Yeah. This was definitely math class 101. I love it.
Yeah, I think that one step for anyone that's, just getting started, like he was just discussing, one area I would focus on the most would be the current flow of your money. Identify that first. What's coming in, what's going out, what's left. And what I find is that we think we know what's going out until we put it on paper and we start to really identify where our money's going. Then we're like, okay, this is why I'm broke.
Gotcha.
Right? And I do this multiple times with my clients. Is they'll give me this big number that they have coming in, a little number coming out, and I'm like, okay, after taxes and everything else, this is what you should have in your account. And it's not there. Where is it? And if you can't account for it, whatever's going out is not accurate. So we got to find out. We got to find that money. So I tell anyone, if you're just getting started, start there. Get control of that.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's good. Any why don't you give everybody the plugs? Basically, they want to get more information on Intentional Wealth, do their own due diligence and their own research. Give them the plugs. Where can they find you?
You can find me on my website, which is our big company, which is nextgenlegacygroup.co. I'm also on Instagram. It's Melendez Justyn. I'm on TikTok, Intentional Wealth there, Facebook, and Instagram, LinkedIn. So you can find me on pretty much all social media platforms, and then just check out our website there too. You'll be able to find everything else about me.
Yep. I'll have all that information below on the bio section of this, guys. So, Justyn, this was dope. This was super informative. This brought me back to school. Definitely a numbers guy.
This is just a teaser.
Oh, no, I know this is a teaser. Much more. Well, that's why we're going to send them to you. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to prep everybody for you, because let me tell you something. If you don't come correct, he comes with the heat. He knows what he's talking about, but you got to keep up, right? You could try one of these drinks, we ain't going to endorse these people, but this right here got me, my eyes is twitching. But this Celsius right here is Live Fit. I'm already burning body fat. Anyway, he knows his stuff. So you got to come in here, bring your A game, do your research, do your due diligence. But he is definitely the front runner. Intentional Wealth, Mastermind, Justyn Melendez. My brother, quick little plug, believe it or not, I'm interviewing his fiance on the next episode.
Love it.
So, and she's dope too. And she gets to hang out with this guy. Wait, just real quick. Give me the face you saw when you first saw her. Give me the face. Infinit Vibes Podcast, we out of here. And I'm going to talk to you guys later. Check it twice. We out of here.